Hello, my dear friends. Good morning. Welcome back to our chemistry class. From the last class, we have learned about two types of reactions. That is combination reaction and decomposition reaction. Okay. Today we are going to learn about displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. Okay. Children, we take iron nails and put it in a copper sulfate solution. The color of the copper sulfate solution is blue. Okay, what happened? Iron, iron nail that keep inside in copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution. That means I wrote here aqueous. Copper sulfate solution. After some time, we will observe that the iron nail become brownish in color and the blue color of the copper sulfate solution fade. Here, this reaction, in this activity, the reaction will take place is iron react with copper sulfate, the product are iron sulfate and copper are formed. This is copper sulfate, this is iron sulfate. The following reaction is taken place in this activity, that is iron react with the copper sulfate. When we keep iron nails in copper sulfate solution, iron displaces or removed copper from copper sulfate solution and iron sulfate and copper are formed. Iron has displaced or removed the element, that is copper, from copper sulfate solution. Iron sulfate and copper are formed. Here iron എന്ത് ചെയ്യും copper sulfate solution കോപ്പറിനെ ഡിസ്പ്ലേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവിടെ അയൺ വരും. So iron sulfate is formed. The remaining copper remains there. Okay. Iron react with the copper sulfate. Iron displaces copper from copper sulfate solution and iron sulfate copper are formed. This type of reaction, that is one element displaces another element from its solution, is known as displacement reaction. One element removed or displaced another element from its aqueous solution is known as displacement reaction. Okay. Another examples, zinc. Zinc is a metal that react with copper sulfate solution. Here also zinc displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. So zinc sulfate and copper are formed. Zinc react with copper sulfate. Zinc displaces this copper from copper sulfate solution. Here iron displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. So iron sulfate and copper are formed. Here zinc displaces copper from copper sulfate solution and zinc sulfate and copper are formed. Okay. Another example, lead. Lead is a metal that react with copper chloride. Copper chloride solution. Here also lead displaces copper from copper chloride. So lead chloride and copper are formed. Okay, here lead displaces copper from copper chloride. Lead chloride and this is lead. Pb means lead, blubber. Lead chloride. So here lead displaces copper from copper sulfate solution and lead chloride and copper are formed. These are the reactions, that examples for displacement reaction. So displacement reaction means high reactive element that displaces low reactive element from its aqueous solution. That type of reaction is known as displacement reaction. Displacement reaction high reactive elements ആണ് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, low reactive elements നെ displace ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Okay. Copper does not displace iron from its aqueous solution because copper is less reactive than iron. Okay, copper is less reactive than iron, so it does not displaces iron from its solution. We can conclude that displacement reaction means high reactive element or an element displaces another element from its aqueous solution. That is known as displacement reaction. In displacement reaction, high reactive element displaces low reactive elements. Okay. Children, we take 3 ml of sodium sulfate in a test tube and add into 3 ml of barium chloride solution. Here we can observe the reaction. A white precipitate is formed. That is, a white insoluble substance is formed. A reaction that produces white insoluble substance or precipitate, we can be named it as precipitation reaction. So, the reaction between sodium sulfate and barium chloride is a precipitation reaction. Okay, we take, once again listen here, we take sodium sulfate, aqueous solution of sodium sulfate or sodium sulfate solution in a test tube and add barium chloride solution. We take sodium sulfate solution in a test tube and add barium chloride solution into this sodium sulfate solution. We can see a white insoluble substance is formed. That is known as precipitate. Okay. So, white insoluble substance is formed that is insoluble in water. So, this reaction we can known as a precipitation reaction. Look here, the product are barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Barium sulfate not aqueous. It is a white insoluble substance. So we can write solid. A white insoluble substance of barium sulfate or white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed along with the formation of sodium chloride. Okay, sodium chloride is soluble in water. So, we can see sodium chloride as a insoluble substance. Here, the reaction between sodium sulfate and barium chloride, we can see that barium sulfate and sodium chloride are formed. These are the products. Here we can see that sodium displaces barium from barium chloride and barium displaces sodium from sodium sulfate solution. So, here we can see the double displacement. Here, sodium displaces barium or sodium comes in the place of barium chloride. Barium comes in the place of sodium. So, we can see that an exchange of elements happen here. Okay. So, this type of reaction is known as double displacement reaction. This type of reaction is known as double displacement reaction. Here, double displacement is happened. Okay. Sodium displaces barium, barium displaces sodium. Okay. This is a double displacement reaction. Here, an exchange of, in a double displacement reaction, an exchange of ions. So, we can see the products are a insoluble substance, that is a precipitate. So, this double displacement reaction we can also known as, or we can named it as a precipitation reaction. Precipitation reaction. This is a precipitation reaction because white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed. White precipitate of barium sulfate is formed. So it is known as a precipitation reaction. Okay. Children, another example for double displacement reaction is sodium chloride that react with silver nitrate solution. Silver nitrate solution. The products are sodium nitrate and silver chloride. Silver chloride and what it is? Sodium nitrate. Sodium nitrate. Okay, these are the products formed during the reaction of sodium chloride and silver nitrate. Here also sodium displaces silver from silver nitrate solution. Silver displaces sodium from sodium chloride solution. This is a double displacement reaction. We can see the exchange of ions in between the the chemicals. Okay. So this is the another example for double displacement reaction. Okay. Children, listen here. We take some copper powder in a china dish and we heated it. We can see that the brown color of the copper is turned into black color or a black color powder is formed. What is the reason for that? Copper, when we heat the copper powder, heating means what it is? The reaction with the oxygen. So, copper react with the oxygen. Copper oxide is formed. Copper oxide is formed. The color of the copper oxide is black. So, the brown color is turned into black powder. Here we can see that oxygen is added with the copper. So, this type of reaction is known as oxidation. Oxidation. Adding of oxygen. Adding of oxygen. That type of reaction is known as oxidation. Okay. When hydrogen react with oxygen, what happened? Water is formed. Okay. Hydrogen gas react with oxygen gas. Water is formed. Water is formed. Here also hydrogen is oxidized. That means this oxygen is added with hydrogen. Oxidation means adding of oxygen. Okay. Then what is the color of copper oxide? Black color. We pass hydrogen gas over this copper oxide. After some time we can see that the brown color of the copper is regained or this turns brown color. That is the reverse reaction takes place. Here copper oxide, when we pass hydrogen gas over copper oxide, we can see that the reverse reaction taken place. The reverse reaction taken place, that is copper plus water is formed. Okay, copper lose their oxygen and hydrogen is added with the oxygen. The reverse reaction is taken place in this reaction, that is removal of oxygen. Copper loses its oxygen and hydrogen is accept that oxygen. So here we can see that copper is reduced. Copper is reduced. That means copper undergoes reduction. Reduction means copper undergoes reduction. Reduction means what it is? Removal of oxygen. Removal of oxygen. Okay. Oxidation means adding of oxygen. Reduction means removal of oxygen. In this reaction, copper is added with oxygen. So, or oxygen is added with copper. So, we can see that copper is oxidized or that undergoes oxidation. Here we can see that oxygen is removed from copper oxide or copper. So, copper is reduced or copper undergoes reduction. Copper oxide undergoes reduction. So, reduction means removal of oxygen. Oxidation means adding of oxygen. We can see hydrogen. What is the case of hydrogen in this reaction? Yes, hydrogen gains oxygen, isn't it? Hydrogen gains oxygen. Copper loses its oxygen. Copper loses its oxygen. Loses oxygen. Hydrogen gains. Hydrogen gains oxygen, isn't it? So, copper oxide reduced, hydrogen oxidized. Okay, copper oxide reduced into copper, hydrogen is oxidized into H2O. അല്ലേ, രണ്ട് റിയാക്ഷനും ഒരേ റിയാക്ഷനിൽ നടക്കുകയാണ് അല്ലേ, രണ്ടും ഓക്സിഡേഷനും റിഡക്ഷനും സെയിം റിയാക്ഷനിൽ നടക്കുകയാണ്. സോ ദിസ് റിയാക്ഷൻ ഈസ് നോൺ ആസ് redox reaction. Redox reaction. Redox reaction. Redox reaction means both oxidation and reduction taken place in one reaction. Okay, that type of reaction is known as redox reaction. Here copper oxide reduced and hydrogen gas oxidized. So we can say that this is a redox reaction. Oxidation means adding of oxygen. Reduction means removal of oxygen. So this type of reaction we can say that oxidation and reduction. Okay. Children, next we can check what are the effect of oxidation and reduction in our everyday life. Okay.
Children, you must have observed that iron particles are shiny when new, but get coated with a reddish brown powder when left for some time. This process is commonly known as rusting of iron. Some other metals also get tarnished in this manner. When a metal is attacked by substances around it such as moisture, acids, etc., it is said to be corrode, and this process is called corrosion. The black coating on silver and green coating on copper are other examples of corrosion. Corrosion causes damage to car bodies, bridges, iron railings, ships, and to all objects made of metals, especially those of iron. Corrosion of iron is a serious problem. Every year, an enormous amount of money is spent to replace damaged iron. So, this is the one of the effect of oxidation in everyday life. Okay. And another effect is rancidity. Rancidity means the fat or oil containing food materials that left for long time. Its smell and taste are changed, isn't it? So, when fats and oils are oxidized, they become rancid and their smell and taste change. So, because of the smell and taste changing is by oxidation. Oil and fat are oxidized, so their smell and taste change. Usually, substances which prevent oxidation are added to foods containing fats and oil. അതായത് ഫാറ്റ്, ഓയിൽ, അതായത് ചിപ്സ്, എണ്ണയിലുള്ള സാധനങ്ങളൊക്കെ പെട്ടെന്ന് ഇങ്ങനെ കേടുവരാൻ കാരണം ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു ഓക്സിഡേഷൻ. സോ വി ആർ ആഡിങ് ആൻറ്റി ഓക്സിഡൻസ് so that prevent oxidation. Keeping food in airtight containers help to slow down oxidation. ഈ ഓക്സിഡേഷൻ്റെ റേറ്റ് സ്ലോ ചെയ്യാൻ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്താൽ മതി? They are keeping airtight containers so they do not contact with atmospheric oxygen. Okay. The chips manufacturers, they are usually flush bags of chips with gas such as nitrogen that help to prevent the chips from getting oxidation. അതായത് ചിപ്സിൻ്റെ ബാഗിലൊക്കെ നൈട്രജൻ ഗ്യാസ് ഫില്ല് ചെയ്യും ഫോർ ടു പ്രിവെൻറ്റ് ദ ഓക്സിഡേഷൻ. In that way they will rancid. Rancidity എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫുഡ് കേടാവുക, ഓയിൽ ഫാറ്റി ഫുഡൊക്കെ കേടാവുന്ന പ്രോസസ്സാണ് റാൻസിഡിറ്റി. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ എഫക്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓക്സിഡേഷൻ in our life.
Children, so corrosion and rancidity, these are the two processes that are the effect of oxidation and reduction in everyday life. Okay, so today we discussed about displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, oxidation and reduction, and finally what are the effect of oxidation and reduction in everyday life. Okay, so you should read the textbook, ask your doubt at the time of the discussion. Thank you. Have a nice day.